Is it possible to be successful and happy? This is a question that I was faced with in 2009. I was 39 years old, very successful, living the good life, but I was incredibly unhappy. And I just thought, well, maybe that's what the deal is. Maybe you just have to exchange your happiness for leadership, or you have to exchange your happiness for success. Maybe you can't really have it all. Maybe you can't really have both of those things. But that moment sort of led me on a journey of discovery, trying to figure out, is it possible? Is it possible to be both successful and happy? For me, that meant, can I be happier in my regular life? And it's been a journey. And I've had the opportunity as an HR actuary to actually study the data. What drives people to become happier? What makes employees happier? All of those things. I've studied my own life, studied the data, studied research from other people. And over the past year or so, I've discovered how that happens. I've encountered all of these people who are both successful and happy. I've encountered people who are successful and not happy. I've encountered people who are happy and not successful by their own definition. And I've started to put this all together and figure out, well, what causes some people to be both successful and happier? And what I found is something I now call the Safari way. This is the methodology, the framework, the paradigm, the process, whatever you want to call it. This is the way to become both happier and successful. And it's something I now teach in my coaching, in my keynote speaking, my breakouts, my half-day workshops, my offsite retreats. All of the things that I do are centered around living the Safari way, leading the Safari way, engaging with work the Safari way. And the reason I call it that is because as I've led a number of safaris to East Africa, and I'm going on more and leading more and more of these, I realize there are certain things that you can do, certain ways that you can prepare, certain ways that you can engage with the safari that result in it being more epic than you could ever imagine, that resulted in it being the best possible African safari. And it's those same things, those same approaches to that if we apply to our life and our work and our leadership, result in us being both successful and happy, and doing that in more and more and more ways. So I want to introduce you to the Safari way of approaching it. And it's real high level, and I'm going to have videos that touch on each of these in more specific, but there's 4 things that people who are happier and successful, both of those things, there are 4 things that they do that other people aren't doing as much. And the first one is that they are really clear on the experience they want to have. Just like on an African safari, getting clarity on what kind of safari you want to have, realizing that there's more options than you could ever imagine. In life, in work, and leadership, getting clear on the type of experience you want to have. What do you want out of life? What do you want out of leadership? And not accepting the default that you've received, not accepting the expectations of others, not accepting the shoulds, here's what you should do, but getting really clear on what is it that you honestly want. And this might be harder than you imagine, but when you get clear on that, that's going to open up the doors for you to make decisions that are going to lead to greater happiness and greater success. So the first step is getting crystal clear on what it is that you want, not what other people want for you, but what you want out of your life, out of your work, and your leadership. And the second thing is getting really clear on who are the people that you need around you to have the kind of experience that you want to have. When you're on an African safari, I refer to this as getting the right peeps in our Jeep. We know what kind of African experience we want to have, and now it's about getting the right peeps in the Jeep that are going to have that kind of experience. In our life, in our work, and our leadership, it's the same thing. Now that you have clarity, what happier and successful people do is they now surround themselves intentionally with the right people. They get the right peeps in their Jeep for the kind of life, work, and leadership that they want to have. And the third piece is that intentionality. It's one thing to clarify the kind of experience you want to have and clarify the kind of people you want around you, but then it comes intentionality. You've got to do it. You've got to have the courage to make the kind of decisions, to make the kind of choices, to take the steps that are going to put you in a position to have the kind of experience you want to have with the people you want around you. And sometimes you're going to have to buck common knowledge, what most people are telling you that you should do, what people are expecting you to do, what you received as a default in terms of what you should believe or think or how you should act. You have to have the courage to have intentionality in making decisions and choices that are lined up with the kind of experience you want to have, right? And to get the right people around you, the kind of people that you need to have in your Jeep. And this is just as true on an African safari as it is in our lives, in our work, and our leadership. And then the fourth piece is leaning into the adventure. On an African safari, as well as in our lives, there are ups and downs, highs and lows, knowns and unknowns. You don't know what's waiting around the next corner, what's lying in the shallow water, what's in the tall grass lurking. You don't know. Life by its very nature, safari by its very nature, leadership by its very nature is full of ups and downs and highs and lows and knowns and unknowns. And some people, most of us, try to insulate ourselves from that. We try to protect ourselves from that. We try to make sure that those things don't happen to us. But the reality is they're going to. It is the very nature of life. Ups and downs, highs, lows, knowns, and unknowns. It's the very nature of safari. It's the very nature of leadership. They are unavoidable. Now, each one of us is unique. Each one of us is special. Each one of us has a situation that's different than anybody else. But what is not unique is that we go through ups and downs and highs and lows. That's not unique. We all have them in life, in work, and leadership. And the happiest and most successful people lean into that. They don't try to avoid it. Yeah, it sucks when the bad things happen, but they recognize this is part of the human experience. This is going to happen. What am I going to do with it? So when things are positive, they lean into that and they celebrate and they get excited about that. When things are negative, they mourn that, they grieve that, they come alongside other people who are dealing with that. They lean into it. And so what I have found from my data analysis as an HR actuary, my own journey to become happier and more successful, my discussions with my clients, my research, my studying the research of other people, what I have found is these are the 4 things. If you want to be happier and successful, I call it the safari way. You can call it whatever you want. But if you want to be happier and successful, both of those things, get clear on the experience that you want to have, you personally, authentically you. Get clear on the people you need around you in order to have that kind of experience. Be intentional and have courage to make decisions, make choices that are aligned to the experience you want and the people you need. And then lean into the adventure. This is an epic adventure. There's going to be highs and lows, ups and downs. Lean into it, embrace it, recognize it's part of life, and then engage with others who are doing the same thing. So that's my advice to you. That is the safari way. That is the path to becoming both successful and happy at the same time. If you like what you're hearing, I would love to have you subscribe to the channel, check out some other videos, engage with me, whether it's here on YouTube or LinkedIn or through the mailing list. I'm building a community of people trying to live the safari way to become happier and more successful. And your voice is needed. And if we can be of service to you on your journey, would love to be a part of that as well.